The model of human occupation was developed by Gary Kielhofner and Janice Burke in 1980. As stated by Janice Burke, the model of human occupation is a way for therapists to organize their ideas when working with a client. It helps them prioritize what they want to be able to do and what they need to be able to do. This model gave occupational therapists a language to use when working with clients and their families and resulted in a broad and integrative view of occupation. One of the main concepts of the model is that humans are made up of three components: volition, the motivation for occupation; habituation, the patterns or routines of occupations; and performance, the physical or mental abilities of occupations. These three components help inform the therapist of who the client is as an individual and lends ideas on how to modify the intervention based on the client. The model of human occupation also focuses on the importance of the physical and social environment and how they interact with the occupation of the client. When working with a client, every treatment should be in concert with the patient's needs, goals, lifestyle, and personal and cultural values. This can be accomplished through the use of clinical reasoning. Learning more about the volition, habituation, and performance of each unique client can help a therapist synthesize and apply different interventions by drawing from previous experience and taking into account the physical and social environment.
Claire is a 22-year-old female who recently experienced a traumatic brain injury which impaired her fine motor function. Her doctor recommended she have a consultation with an occupational therapist.
Hi, Ms. Brabson. I'm Becca. I'm your occupational therapist. How are you doing today?
Not good. I'm really frustrated.
That's understandable. Since your traumatic brain injury, you have a lot of big changes. Is there anything in particular that's frustrating you?
Yes, my hands don't work like they used to, and I love knitting, and I just want to be able to knit.
So what you're saying is that the limited functioning in your hands is preventing you from knitting comfortably?
Yes, and I was in the middle of knitting a blanket for my sister's baby.
Here, Claire explains her values and interests regarding the importance of knitting.
And she's due in 4 months, which is a very short amount of time. So we need to be able to knit.
That's such a nice thing for you to do for your sister. Can you tell me more about your knitting routine? Like, is there a time you used to do it, something particularly meaningful about it?
Well, I used to find it relaxing, but now it just reminds me of all my limitations.
Claire is frustrated by her new physical limitations that are affecting her performance. The TBI has introduced restrictions on her motor ability in her hand, but Claire also encounters psychological limitations. Her irritation with the inability to complete her usual routine leaves Claire discouraged. These two limitations stunt Claire's overall performance.
But before my injury, I used to go over to my grandma's house every Thursday.
Here, Claire informs her therapist of her habituation out of her knitting.
And we would have tea and knit, and it was really nice. And my sister is having twins, so we're making matching blankets. But I'm just really worried that I'm not gonna, I don't want my grandmom to have to do all the work, so I really need to be able to knit again.
Again, Claire emphasizes her motivation and volition to regain the meaningful occupation of knitting.
Now that I know more about knitting and how it's a meaningful activity for you, I think I have a few ideas as to how you can adjust your environment to make it easier for you to knit. So I've had some clients who use an adaptive loom, and they found that to work really well. You can also use larger knitting needles and build bigger stitches, but it makes it easier. And then there's a way that you can learn to knit using only one hand. Do any of these options sound like they'll work for you?
The adaptive loom sounds kind of cool, but will it work? How do you know it'll work?
I've actually had several clients who've used it, and they've all found it really successful. And in my clinical experience, it's also been shown to help restore some motor function practicing using those muscles so they get much stronger. So I think it's been a really great tool, and it's a great strategy to choose.
The therapist has incorporated clinical reasoning into her treatment session by using the knowledge she has from previous clients to help her create a tailored intervention for Claire.
I'll try.
Awesome! I can bring the loom in next week and we can practice knitting.